Going to pause also. All right. Welcome everyone. This is options with Eddie, and just a few introductions since I see a few new faces that have never been on this call before, and so I just want to welcome you all for this very fast options with Eddie. What should we call it? A Zoom class, study session, call it whatever you like. But a few introductions. My name is Eddie Hishohe. I am in Atlanta, Georgia, and I do options. I trade options all day, every day, 5 days a week. I'll make that 4 days a week, but that is what I do. I also teach options. So if you are needing help with options, you can always contact me. I will share my contact information throughout today's session. This session is actually probably geared towards people who are starting out. You might have had options, you know a thing or two, you're not too familiar, and you want to sharpen your skills. So we're going to go all the way from beginner to almost advanced, but not really advanced. And we'll cover a few strategies, mostly because this is a kind of an intro level or refresher kind of thing. We will go through what options are. We'll go through the basic options contracts, which are calls and puts. We'll see how do we make money. How do you actually make money on this kind of thing? Why is it even a thing? Is it a thing? So we'll go over that. We'll answer some questions like, do you have to wait until expiration for when you buy a contract, or what do you have to do? Things like break even. We'll go with a lot of questions. I encourage you to ask questions. Stop me and ask questions, because this is a difficult subject, and if you don't get this one, then you might you might get lost along the way. So I encourage questions. They do not have to be restricted to any sort of level. I know that where you're coming from, you do have different levels of beginners, advanced, and all that kind of stuff. We'll try and level the playing field. So a few housekeeping rules is that this is a safe place. I want you to feel comfortable asking your question. There is no question too dumb, no such thing. The dumb question is the one that is unasked. So you need to ask it and get help. That's how you do it. I am pretty easygoing. For those of you that know me, I like to have fun while doing this. I imagine that if I can't have fun doing something that I love, then what's the point of all of this? So this is one of my passions. It's why I'm in it every day. It is why I make myself available to help other people be great at this kind of thing. So welcome aboard. I do have a few helpers in the house who are going to be helping me moderate. Brittany over there is my co-host, so she'll be assisting me when you raise your hands, letting me know that you have questions, and I will occasionally glance at the chat, but I will not. Actually spend a lot of time on it. But I will pay attention when Brittany does let me know about that. Somebody is having issues with the link. Let me go ahead and text it to them. See if they can get
You do have someone with their hand up already.
Okay. Yeah, let's.
You want me to unmute her?
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay. Tendra?
Oh, hi, this is Tendai. Quick question, Freddie. With this session, do you suggest that we simulate what you're doing? Should we have our charts open and go step by step as you go, or just take notes, or just listen? Because I'm one of the beginners. Okay. I'm in trade and travel class, but I haven't traded options yet, and I really want to get started. So what's your suggestion today?
My suggestion would be to follow along. It might take too much time to, ask you to follow on your own computer and catch up with me.
Okay.
But this recording will be made available. I will make it available to everyone who attends today. So
Okay.
it's going to be for yours. I'm not going to take it down. I have now total control of all these videos. So I will share these and you can watch and rewatch.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
cool.
Thanks.
One other quick note I should say before we go too far is that options are. What's my big disclaimer? I don't have it printed, but options involve risk. In fact, trading in general involves risk. You can make a lot of money. That's the good part. You can also lose a lot of money. That's the bad part, right? So you need to be aware of both, and that what you're doing now and learning is for educational purposes. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I am not licensed by any means by any state authority, the SEC or the Securities and Exchange Commission. So just be aware. I have to give you those disclaimers. Obviously, this is the first time for some people, so just know that I am just Eddie. I'm a dude who knows how to spell options. That's it. Tony, what's the minimum amount to start trading options? That's a tough question. You do have to have enough to buy the options contract itself, and we're going to see how much that is. So we'll answer the question in practice. But I would say if you have a small account of around 2,000, that ought to be good. That ought to be good. And I don't advise to start off trading options, by the way, in your live account. I always want you to train in your sim account or paper trading. Today we're going to be using a platform, by the way, called Think or Swim. It is made by TD Ameritrade. Now, those of you who've been around, you might be wondering, why am I spelling all these things out? It's because there are new people here in this crowd that I notice and I know are new. And so for their benefit, I will go a little slower on this. If it is too slow, you will have the opportunity later on to skip ahead to the more interesting parts as we go along. Sounds good, everyone? Awesome. So welcome again, and thanks again, by the way, for your support. You all have been very kind to me. I've been receiving a ton of messages. My voicemail was full at one time, and I see a lot of love coming just from my old comrades in another world. So that world is let's see, what shall we say, is history. Yeah, that world is history. It is still a good world, but things must change in order to grow. So that's a good thing. And welcome. So let's see where we shall start. Options. I'm going to share my screen, and let's see. I'm going to share my screen here, and then we can get started. So in the meantime, if you have any burning questions, go ahead and ask them. This is a good time to ask the question as I get ready. So Tendai, how did you hear about this, by the way?
Okay, I'm muted. Well, I still am in the Terry Trading Travel class.
Okay.
So I attended one of your lessons, and I was trying to get back to to attend, and then I got the notification that you were no longer.
Got it.
Yep.
All right.
And I follow you on Facebook too.
Ah, nice. Nice. Two things have been good to me, Facebook and Google. Google seems to love me, even though there's another fake Eddie out there. I don't know whether you've come across that. It's surprising how they spring out of nowhere. So I did a search for myself and found some guy claiming to be me, and it was There's only one of me. But desktop 3. All right, can you all see my screen? Hey, Keisha, how you doing? What's your question?
Hi, Eddie. Good morning.
Hey.
I just wanted to know, is this class going to be weekly?
Is it going to be weekly? No, it is going to be every other week. It is going to be every other week. Is it going to be always free? No. But today is free. There's no cost to join today. But that's a good point there, Keisha, because I offer training at various levels. I will continuously offer you the opportunity, or people the opportunity, to join my program, which runs about 8 weeks. Right? It goes about 8 weeks. Covers. I call it beginner to advanced. However, there are some prerequisites because I don't want to spend too much time teaching the very basics. But if you do have to go through the basics, I've got a few resources that I can recommend. And when you get to options, this is where we need to meet up. So, and I will be happy to provide some of those resources. So every other week, and I will post a link. There are some people, obviously, who have paid me well in advance. Then for those people, it will always be free. Right? For those people, it will always be free. That is my promise to them. So thanks for bringing that up, Keisha. All right. I am looking at my paper trading. Can everybody see that? Anybody say yes? No? Maybe?
Yes.
Yep. Are you looking at my paper trading?
Yes,
Great.
it's up.
Awesome. So let's go over a few basic things about trading. When we say trading, there are two main types, I should say. There is shares trading, and you can buy stocks on Robinhood. You can buy shares of Apple and hold them for a very long time. You can also buy options, and options are leverage. So when we say options, the full name really is options contract. And what that basically means is that you are using leverage, or you're buying a contract that controls 100 shares. So the number 100 is going to be key. In fact, we're going to have a fun exercise here. Let's just have everybody, type in 100 just so that I can see who's awake. There we go. So 100 is key in options because everything is expressed as a fraction, or as a factor, or a function of 100. So one options contract represents 100 shares. Let's do some examples here. I'm going to go to my favorite example here of Apple. All right. And Apple right now is trading at approximately $163.17. Right? Based on this chart, Apple could be going up, or it could be going down. Why do I know that? Because it's got a big red candle there, and the formation to me tells me that it has some room to move down. Okay, and I don't know whether we're going to find anything that's in a buy zone today. We're going to talk about what a buy zone means. So we'll see. And if anyone has a stock that they know is in a buy zone, we'll be happy to play with that as well. So 100. When we talk about options, we're talking about controlling 100 shares with one contract. What's a contract? Contract is something that it's an agreement between you and somebody else to do something. Right? In this particular case, at its simplest level, when you buy a call contract or a call option, you are expecting price to go up at some point, and so you will benefit either now or at a later time. So there's the concept of time. Any time that you have a contract, it has got a base price, and in the stock market we call it a strike price. Okay, so this is just a little bit of theory here. There's a strike price associated with that contract that we have to think about, and then there's the concept of time. right? It has an expiration date. It doesn't live forever. So the example that I'm giving here is Apple. I can buy a share of Apple and hold it for a very long time. And it can continue going up or in price, or it can go down, but I can own it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. I can pass it on to my children. I can give it to my neighbor. I can give it to, I can gift it to whoever I want, my friends, my share, so that is, that's shares. When it comes to contracts, options contracts, they're not the same. They have expiration dates. So I'm going to, in my platform, click on trade. And you notice that now I've got all these numbers here, or all these dates that are representing contract expiration dates. And by the way, I'm going to be dropping a lot of new terms, new acronyms for those of you who are just coming into options. So you will hear a lot of acronyms, and I'm going to try and remember to say what they mean. But if you do not, if I forget to say that, please put it in the chat so that I can at least mention it for your benefit. And so one of the first acronym I'll drop here is DTE. It says, and that's days to expiration. So when I talk about a contract expiration date, I'm referring to that number that you see here. And you notice that I have 11 March, and I have a number in parentheses here. So that's the system letting me know that this particular contract, which is expiring on 11th March, has got 6 days left to it, right? Quick calculation so that I don't have to pull out my calculator and see how many days is it going to expire in. So I really like that that notation over there. So 20th January 2023 is 321 days. This is actually a really nice way if you went to a trivia show and they asked you, how many days to 19 January, 2024, right? You'd look pretty smart when you blurt it out. 685. Welcome to the humor of Eddie, by the way. I laugh at my own jokes. So that's what that number in parentheses there is. When it says weeklies, it means that it just, occurs every week, right? Every week. And if it doesn't have the word weeklies on it, it means that it is occurring monthly. Right, let's see whether there are any other types of expirations. So I'm gonna bring up one of my favorites here. There's weeklies. Sometimes you have got quarterlies, like 31 March. You notice that this one has the word quarterlies on it. It just means that it recurs every 3 months. So this one occurs 4 times a year. Then you've got other ones that actually say AM on them. Right? What does that AM mean? It means that it is a morning expiration. You mean there are contracts that expire in the morning? You ever heard of those? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. There are contracts that expire in the morning. So let's look at this particular example here. We can see that on the 18th of March, we've got 2 dates. One of them has 13 DTE, the other one has 12. And you're wondering, is this a typo? Is this a typo? Why wouldn't that be the same and when they have the exact same date? So the reason that they are different is because the one with 18 and 13 DTE, this is the regular weekly expiration. And then the one with the AM is considered the morning expiration, and it expires 1 day before. All right, you see that? 18 March AM. The other one expires 1 day before, but it gets settled on the following day at 9:31 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm being so specific, isn't it? That's because it expires 1 day before at 4:15 p.m., but it gets settled in the first 1 minute candle on the following trading day, which makes that 9:31 a.m. Eastern Time. A lot of complication. Here's my advice: don't trade that contract. Just trade the regular ones, right? Just trade the regular ones. And by the way, it closed when the previous day it closed at 4:15 p.m. as opposed to 4 p.m. So there's all that complication. that's all we've got to say about it. Let's look at something else. I'm going to go back here to Apple, and I'm going to expand any one of these days, by the way. How do you pick an options contract date? Because there's all of these. Which one do you pick? So the answer is, the recommendation is 45 to 90 days. Right? 45 to 90 days is, let me change one thing here. There's a bit of noise coming from that side. I was trying to mute that sound. Anyway, I think I'll find it. So how do you choose a date? You choose a date that is 45 to 90 days. You might have been taught, there's so many schools of thought, by the way. So some people will recommend that you go 30 days out. Some will say 60 days out, 90, whatever. You can pick anything that you want, right? And as you start trading, you will recognize that there are some sweet spots that you want to stay. So my advice is 45 to 90 days, right? So 45 to 90 days is what I would highly recommend. So with that in mind, then we can pick the 48, right? Because 48 days is between 90 and 45 and 90. I think I found it. Maybe not. There it is. It's on my other screen. I've got like 3 screens over here I'm trying to manipulate. And there we go. I found the setting. All right. Let me change my layout over here a little bit so that we can be on the same page. I'm going to include gamma, theta, all of that. I'm just resetting my screen here so we can talk about these things. We talked about a contract representing 100 shares. So when you trade it, how much are you actually going to pay for it? That's a big question. And if you're looking at the option chain, you notice that there's 2 sides. There's calls and there's puts. They are always going to be laid out in this type of formation. Calls on the left, puts on the right. And then there's strike going all the way down. So let me bring up my ink tool. See whether I can draw that. You notice that the strike, and hopefully you can see that in yellow. Place the yellow box there with the prices of the strikes arranged from lowest to highest. You also notice that part of my screen is shaded on the calls side. So everything below the current price is 163. And I'm going to call the current price, or I'm going to use the word underlying. Underlying means the symbol or the security that we are working with. In this case, the underlying is Apple, right? See that word over there, underlying? It's a big word over there, underlying, but you're going to hear it so many times, so you might as well know what it means. So when I say the underlying, I'm simply referring to the stock that we are talking about. And this is AAPL or Apple. That's the ticker symbol. So when the stock, or when the price of the underlying in relation to the strike, or when this, say that one more time here. When the strike is less than the price of the underlying, then that is considered in the money, right? That's considered in the money. So everything that is shaded here is in the money. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more so that we understand why it's important to understand in the money or out of the money. Can you increase screen size? Oh, some people are having difficulty looking at my screen. Is it too small? Let's see whether we can make this larger, in less, just normal. How is that? Is that coming through better? A little bit better? That's good. Awesome. All right. So let's draw these lines again because they've shifted. But before we do that, let us give ourselves a little bit more room.
You have someone that has a question. You want to answer it while you're drawing?
Yeah, let's do that. Go ahead and ask a question.
Yolanda, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, hi Eddie, this is Yolanda.
Hey, Yolanda.
How you doing? Can you give the definition again of in the money?
Yes, I'm about to do that. So in the money is, there's two types of in the money when you're referring to calls and when you're referring to puts. So I'm going to go with a simple case of calls. But before that, when do we buy calls and when do we buy puts? If we're expecting price to go up, then we're going to buy calls. Okay. If we're expecting price to go up, then we're going to do calls. That means you're going to be working on the left side of this screen. If you're expecting the price of the underlying to go down, then you're going to be working with puts. In both scenarios, you're going to be working on this column called ask. Right? There's the ask column on both sides. You notice that we've got puts on that side and we've got ask column and calls on the left. So in the money and out of the money and at the money is important because it helps us decide how much money we're going to make, how quickly or how slowly. It also affects the outcome on expiration. So what happens at expiration on April 22? We're going to discover by identifying what at the money and in the money means. So in the basic sense of the word, at the money is the strike that is closest. I'm going to say the strike that is closest to the current price. So the current price is 163.17 and we're choosing the 160 strike. Okay, the 160 strike is considered at the money. Also going to type these and say that this is ATM. Not to be confused with that thingamajig where you get some money. Right? So that's at the money. To best describe at the money, we also have to describe delta. And these are Greeks. Everything that you see on this column here is a Greek. Delta, gamma, theta, vega, and even bid, ask, and strike, all those are considered Greeks. And we'll go through each of them, starting with delta. Well, maybe delta second. We'll go with the ask. Ask is how much you pay for this strike, the 160 strike. Remember we say that one contract represents 100 shares. So when you see the price there of $10.35, it doesn't mean that that's how much you're going to pay. You're going to pay 10.35 times 100. Right? That makes 1,035. 1,035. That's how much it's going to cost you. And we're going to do a small example here so that you can understand the significance of that. I want to draw a small exercise here. Let's try to make $100 using shares. What would that look like? If we were to try to make $100 using shares, assuming that we're going to take the simple scenario where price is going up, right? Ignore that price may be going down, but starting from the very basic where you don't know how to short or you don't know how to buy puts, assume that you're going to buy at 163.17 and you want to make $100. What is the quickest way to do that? Anybody want to give it a shot? Using shares, by the way, using shares. You've done this before. Anybody want to take a stab? Buy 100 shares. So Keisha says buy 100 shares. That is correct. And how much would that cost me, Keisha? You want to break that down for us? All right. She's not being there. So let me break it down.
16,317.
16,317, correct. So if we bought 100 shares of Apple at 163.17, which is the current price, then that would cost us 16,317, and then just wait for price to go up by $1 and then sell it. That's the easiest way to make $100, right? Or I could buy 50 of them, right? I could buy 50 of them. So 163.17 times 50 would cost me $8,158, and then I'd wait for the price to go up $2. And you've got an infinite number of combinations that you can work with to arrive at that figure. If you only have $1,000 to spend, say 1,000 and divide that by 160, I'm going to say 164. So you could buy 6 shares, right? And they would have to move about $17 in order for you to make $100. You with me so far? But if you bought the 100, that would cost you $16,000. That's a number that not a lot of people have. So with options, I can control 100 shares with 1,035. And when do I get to make $100? That's where delta comes in. So we're going to now manipulate or talk about delta. This is this column right here. This column delta. So every time the price of Apple goes up by $1, then this premium here will go up by 58 cents. Things are starting to look good, aren't they? So 1035 will now become, assuming that the price of Apple has gone up by $1, then 1035 will now become 1035 plus 58 cents, which is 1093. Remember, we're trying to make $100, right? So Apple needs to go up another $1, and now 1093 will become 1093 plus 0.58. It will become 1151. I'm writing these numbers down. So 1151 minus our original price of 1035. Remember that so far Apple has increased by only $2, and the difference in the premium is now 1.16. What did we say about premium and these numbers? We are always multiplying by 100. So now you see that if I spend 1035 and wait for Apple to go up $2, I can make $116. Is that looking good? I think it's looking very, very good, right? So $16,000 versus $1,000, which one would you rather spend? You'd rather spend the 1,035, right? Makes a whole lot of sense. But let's talk about risk, because nothing is without risk. What if Apple dropped in price by $2? It also means that you will lose $116. And that's why with options, you have to think about the leverage part of it, right? You can make a lot of money very quickly. You can lose a lot of money very quickly. So it goes both ways. And that's when we now have to seriously think about when is the best time to buy an options contract. When's the best time to buy shares anyway, right? So let's go back here to the stock chart. By the way, this is the stock chart. I am clicking on the word charts over here in my program. And this is the stock charts. You notice that it has got certain formations. It's going up, it's going down. In general, when you see a red candlestick, that signifies that price was going up. When you see a red one, that means that it was going down. The price was going down. On the right side is where I'm talking about. That's where I'm seeing where the prices are. So notice that I'm going to bring up my trusty pen here again. As price moves up, down, up and down, there's the concept of buy low, sell high. I don't think anybody has ever heard of that one. That's a new term. Has anybody heard that one?
I've heard of it before.
You awesome. One person has heard of it at least. Very cool. Well, that was a joke, guys. We always buy low, sell high, right? Buy low, sell high. So that is the main concept of trading. We always want to get in at the low price and get out at the high price. How does that look like when it comes to options? When it comes to options, it simply means that when we buy at 1035, our thesis is that the price of the underlying is going to increase, and as it increases, then we are going to make money because that premium will increase in value. Okay, it will increase in value. So to summarize on that point, delta can be described as the rate of change of premium. This is called premium. Everything that you see in the as column is called premium, right? That is at the money. Delta, you notice here, is 0.58. How low can it go and how high can it go? Well, the lowest that it can go is 0, and the highest that it can go is 1.00, right? You can also translate delta to mean that every time that the premium goes up, you're making $58, right? $58 every time. That is if you buy the contract, the call contract that is at the money. Well, what's the difference? Let's try and buy something that is low priced. Maybe you don't have a very big budget and you decide you are going to buy a higher strike. Let's go with the higher strike and go with, I'm going to go with the 195 strike. How about that? Let's try the 195 strike. Somebody tell me, how much am I going to pay for this 195 strike? Let's see who's on there. How much am I going to pay for this 195 strike?
$27.
$27.
$27? Great. 27 is correct. So you could buy the 195 strike of Apple for $27 and hope to make some money. Well, how much would you make every time that the option, that the underlying goes up by $1? How much would you make? You would make about
$4.
About $4 because it's 0.04 times 100. The delta is that. Let me introduce something else. What if it took Apple 4 days to go up $1? Would your 27 cents premium still be worth 27? Let me ask it another way. If you bought insurance for your car and say you paid $1,000 and you covered your car for 6 months, that's some pretty tough insurance over there. That's a very high insurance. $1,000 for 6 months? No, let's call it 1 year. Yeah. So you paid $1,000 for 1 year, and 2 months goes by. You know nothing has happened. You call your insurance guy and you tell him, you know what? Yeah, I'm a pretty safe driver. Nothing's happening. I need my $1,000 back. What do you think is going to happen? How is that conversation going to go? Well, I can tell you how that conversation will go. The insurance guy will tell you, no, you insured your car, 2 months have passed, so you've already used up 2 months, right? There's a time value. And so they may prorate the remaining time of that 1,000 premium and say that, you've already used up your $1,000 premium is no longer worth 1,000. It is now worth a factor of time, right? It might be worth, I don't know how much it's going to be worth, right? But you have to subtract. That's called the time value. The time value, it decays, right? In the stock market, when we talk about decay, we are talking about theta. This is this column. You notice that there's a column here called theta. I'm going to give it a different color here and draw. There's that column theta. So every day that you hold this contract, it decays by 1 cent. So that 27 cents that you bought it for is no longer 27. Tomorrow it's going to be 26. The next day it's going to be 25, and so on and so forth, all the way to 0. Okay. It does not hold any value when it is below the current price. We can say that it has no extrinsic value. By the way, that everything that you see on that is not in the shaded area is only extrinsic value. It has no intrinsic value. Those are two new terms I'm introducing here, by the way. They decay to 0. Everything above the current price that is in the money. Let me first label this so that you can see. And by the way, if I'm not explaining these very well, please stop me and I will be happy to repeat any of them. Right? So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about at the money, in the money, and out of the money. So out of the money is everything that has a strike price that is above the current price. The current price is 163, and everything that is above that is out of the money. Any strike that is below the current price is considered in the money. When the strike price is roughly equal to the current price, it is considered at the money. As a rule, we can say that at the money is approximately 50 because that's 50-50. That's the middle part of it. Remember, we said that you could potentially go all the way to 0 or all the way to 1. So mid would be about 50. Okay. Any questions on that? Awesome. Delta has got another function. That was function number 1, to tell us how much our premium is going to increase, right? How much our premium is going to increase. So by April 22nd, which is our expiration date, then if you bought the 160 contract and the price was 160, then we could say that your contract expired in the money. If the price of, let's assume that this was 160, 163 or 165. Let's go with 165 because I want to, if the price does not change and the contract has expired, then your contract is said to expire in the money if the price of the underlying is equal to the strike price. Exactly equal, then that would be considered in the money, right? There is a distinction because at that point, that is when we can talk about break even. All this time we have not talked about break even, right? So let's talk about break even and when that happens and when it's, when is it important? Can you start making money as soon as you buy the contract? The answer is yes. So if I buy this contract for 1035, I'm talking about the 160 contract, and the price starts going up, even by $2, I've already made $116, and so I can sell it at that point and walk away, right? But what if I do not sell it, and now the price, now the date has reached April 22? The only way that I can make some money is if the contract or the closing price is 160 plus the amount of money that I paid for it. That's deep, isn't it? So my break-even point is going to be 160 plus 10.35. Right? Let's see whether that is true. In fact, I'm going to test my own knowledge here. I'm going to click on buy and see what my break-even point is. 170.35. which is 160 plus 1035, how much I bought it. That is how you get your break-even point. It means that at expiration on April 22nd, if the price of Apple is not 170.5, 170.35, I will be losing money. But if it is at exactly 170.35, then I will simply break even, right? My call that I bought will be exercised and I will get the difference. Since I already spent $10.35, I will get another $10.35, making my trade zero. Less commissions, of course. So that's the break-even point. Also, we want to know what is the likelihood of my strike ending in the money. So Delta can tell us that we have a 50-50 chance, right? We have a 50-50 chance. But notice that as I go deeper in the money, then my chances of ending in the money improve. So the 130 strike has an 87% chance of ending in the money. An 87% chance. So when you have a better chance of ending in the money, then obviously that contract is going to be a little bit more expensive and it is going to make you a lot more. So if we bought the 130 strike, obviously we'd be paying $3,560, but every time Apple went up by $1, we'd be making $87 as opposed to 58 at the money or $4 out of the money. So now the big question is, where should we buy? Should we buy 160? Should we buy 150, 130? Should we buy 190? What is the recommendation? My recommendation is to buy at the money or slightly in the money, right? At the money or slightly in the money. Another rule that you can take to the bank with you is, since at the money is a delta of 50, then the rule should be a minimum of delta 50. Maximum, no maximum. If you can afford the $3,560 to make $87 every time it moves up by $1, that's good. But also remember that when the price of the underlying goes down by $1, then you are losing $87 if you buy the 130 strike. And hopefully this concept will sink in as you rewatch this particular section for at the money, in the money, and out of the money. So to summarize this particular part, my recommendation is go for a strike that is at the money or slightly in the money. My personal preference, 50 to 70 delta is usually sufficient for me. Let's see, do we have any questions so far?
Can you repeat again the risk for buying it at 130 strike price, please?
The risk here of, you're talking about the 130 strike. Let me highlight the one that you're talking about. Is this one. It is not exactly a risk. Well, it is a risk, but when you buy the 130 strike and you spend $3,560, when Apple goes up by $1 from 163.17 to 164.17, then you get to make $87, which is that delta over there. Okay. When Apple, or if Apple goes down by $1, 163.17, obviously you'll be losing $87. So you can see when you go deeper in the money, you're making more money potentially, but you're also losing money faster potentially if the price of the underlying goes down. So that is the risk. And that is why we would like to recommend to go in the middle ground, which is at the money. You have a 50-50% chance, meaning that you're gaining, but also your risk is moderated. You're not losing as much, or you're not gaining as much. Right? Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
It does help. Okay. Also, the benefit. This one of the benefit of buying deep in the money. If you do not sell your contract, let's say you bought that 130 strike for 35.60, and today is April 22, what happens to that 35.60? Let's assume that the price ended at 165. All right, let's go with 165. Okay, on April 22, and you bought the 130 strike. What happens if you did not sell that contract? What is the maximum loss that you can get on that? So you know that if you bought it, in order for you to realize the profit, you have to sell it, right? And if you don't sell it, it means that you lose it. So you're going to lose the $3,560 that you paid up front for it on April 22nd. But that's not all. It has value. Because it ended in the money, it has value. How much value of that can come back to you? It is the difference in the strike price that you bought and the ending price on that date. So we say that we're going to assume that the price ended at 165 and your strike price was 130. Then the difference between 165 and 130, right? 165 minus 130 is what? Is $35. So your contract is going to be worth $35 in premium, which in real money is how much? Anybody want to tell me how much that is?
350?
It's more like 3,500.
3,500. Okay.
Right? 3,500. So that is another huge benefit of buying in the money or slightly in the money. It means that your contract holds value. It has got intrinsic value. In fact, it has a combination of both intrinsic and extrinsic value. By the way, extrinsic value decays. Intrinsic value does not decay. Let me add those columns just to illustrate that fact. I'm going to clear my screen because it's getting a little busy. And I'm going to customize these and add the columns called intrinsic value. And I'm also going to add extrinsic value. Just a couple more definitions and then we'll move on to a real trade here. So notice that everything that is in the money has got intrinsic value, right? Intrinsic value does not decay. Extrinsic and anything that is out of the money, which is all of these that are not shaded, has got intrinsic value of 0. And that's important to understand that you're buying something that holds value. It's like buying land with a house, right? With a house already built on it. It already has some intrinsic value, built in. If you bought the house without the land, then the house has value, but you don't own the land. It has no intrinsic value. The house is going to decay. We can call the house the extrinsic value, right? So I don't know whether that's a good example or not, but the point here is that everything that is in the money has got intrinsic value, which is a good thing. It also has got some extrinsic value. Notice that it has some extrinsic value here that also decays. This is the part that is going to decay. The same thing on the put side, right? Same thing on the put side. Everything that is in the money, by the way you flip that diagram now, notice that the purple area that is shaded when you're buying puts is above the current price. When it is above the current price, we can say that that is in the money. And that is what has got intrinsic value. It is also what has got a higher delta. Right? So that's all I'll say about intrinsic and extrinsic value. I don't use them much to make any decision for my trading. So let's see how we can make this diagram a lot friendlier. Every time that the price of the underlying goes up, we know that the ask price or the premium goes up by the amount of delta. Does the delta remain the same throughout? It's a trick question now. Anybody have an idea? Will the delta
It does
remain
not.
the same? It does not. It will increase or decrease, correct?
Correct.
Well, how much will it increase by? It is going to increase by this number here, 0.02, called gamma, right? So every time that the price of the underlying Apple goes up by $1, two things are happening now. The premium is increasing by the rate of delta, and delta itself is increasing by the rate of gamma. So your new delta is going to be 58 plus 0.02, which is going to be 60, right? That has to happen. Otherwise, how do these things get to 87 and all the way to $1? So gamma is the rate of change of delta. Delta is the rate of change of premium. Now, does gamma itself change? Again, the answer is yes, right? So gamma will change, and it is influenced by this Greek called Vega. Vega is a measurement of volatility. There's two types of volatility, by the way. There's the regular volatility in the market, which is evidenced by the symbol VIX. I'm going to add that symbol here, VIX. Okay, and I'm going to plot the chart for it. VIX. VIX is measured. It's a fear index, and you see how it goes up and down. This is just the theory part, by the way. So this measures the whole market, and the VIX is actually tradable, right? You can buy options on the VIX and sell options on that, I believe. Yes, you can. So that is volatility. There's one other type of volatility, and that is implied volatility. So when we go to Apple here and look at the trade, there is this. Let me highlight it here for you. Use yellow. And then I'm going to mouse over it so that you can see that it says, does it say implied? Yeah, there we go. Implied volatility. So what is implied volatility? Implied volatility is that estimate of how much this contract will increase or decrease by. That's what that measurement is. So that we can expect that the price of Apple may or may not go up or down by about $17 or 37.65. Now, is 37.65 high? I don't know, because that measurement is different for every ticker. In order for you to know whether it's high or low, you have to watch these over several weeks or go back in history to see what has the volatility or the implied volatility been. That is an important number to take care to be concerned with, rather than the overall market volatility, the implied volatility. And we'll come back to implied volatility because there are times when you buy a contract, the price does not move. Right? The price of the underlying does not move, and you all of a sudden you're seeing your premium is decreasing, yet the price has not moved by much. Maybe it has moved by a few cents up and down, mostly up, but you notice that your premium is no longer 1035, it is now 935, 930, it's dropping down. What has actually happened is that the implied volatility is shrinking. It's called IV crash. Implied volatility is calculated by using what's going in the market, which is the volatility measured by the VIX, as well as other factors regarding the price and the volume of trading for that particular security. A lot of complications. You don't need to worry about all of that, but just know that you can watch this number on Thinkorswim top right to help you. So we've seen that gamma is affecting delta, Vega is affecting gamma. We've seen that we can forget about intrinsic and extrinsic. Let's clean these up. I'm going to go to customize. I don't need to be thinking about extrinsic. More like remove. Don't need to be thinking about intrinsic or Vega or theta. We know what theta is all about. And gamma. Delta is the only one that I need to be concerned with. Look at that now. Beautiful, isn't it? That's all I need to know for now and for a very long time. That's all you need to know. The delta, the ask, the strike. If I could remove the bid, I would, but it's not an option for me to remove it, right? And we'll learn what the bid is in a different session today. We're just going to be dealing on the ask column. And by the way, if you're confused about whether to click on the bid or the ask, just mouse over the number itself. See, it says buy. It's kind of small. And if you mouse over the bid column, it says sell, right? That's another way to remember that. So hopefully this has simplified this option chain greatly so that you're only concerned with the strike price, the ask column or the premium, and the delta. I'm going to pause there for questions. See who's got questions up there. You can raise your hand, or you can just open your mic and start talking, or you can type it in the chat.
All right, quick question.
Yes.
You think you could give a solid definition for what delta is?
So delta, we said, is the rate of change of premium.
Right.
So every time that the price of the underlying of Apple goes up by $1, then delta, then that premium should go up by the amount of the delta.
Right, which would be $58, right?
Which is going to be 58 cents. And in real money, that is actually $58.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Awesome. So that's a great question there. And the same thing is true on the put side. So that is for calls. The same thing is true for the put side. You notice that it also has delta here, but delta is expressed in a negative notation. And you're wondering, well, we said that it should be the same. Why is it negative? The true definition of delta is the rate of change of premium for every $1 increase. The key word there is increase. So let's talk about that for a second. If we're buying a put, what is our thesis? Anybody know what our thesis is when we're buying a put, right? We're expecting the price to go down. The price of what? The price of Apple, right?
Of the shares.
The price of shares. But what if the price went up?
You would lose money.
You lose money. How much money?
The premium. Oh, no,
the premium, right? So that definition has to stay constant. And that is why on the put side, the delta is expressed in negative notation, because every time the price of Apple goes up, then we have to add delta to the premium. And how much delta are we adding? Negative 42, negative 33, and so on and so forth. So that is why a lot of people did not know why we have a negative sign on the put side. That is the reason, because the definition of delta is for every $1 increase. We do not say increase or decrease. We say just increase. So for the computer to understand that, you need to give one set of thing. Great question there. That was Kelvin. Yeah.
Yes, sir. One more. What app is this that you're using, or what?
What platform I'm using? Thinkorswim. This Thinkorswim is made by a company called TD Ameritrade. So if you have an account on TD Ameritrade, then you can download this desktop application on a MacBook. It works on anything, any sort of computer. So it works on Mac, it works on PC, it works on Linux. Those are the three main things that I know it works on. You can also download the app version on the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. You can also use it on the website. You can. It does not work on Chrome, by the way, on Chromebook. If you have a Chromebook, you cannot download the desktop app. Instead, you have to use the web version. That's the only caveat. That's the only platform that I know that you cannot use Thinkorswim. Do we need to worry about volume or open interest on the underlying before buying? Great question there, Christiana. Yes and no. Yes and no. Let's start with the yes. Yes, because when you're choosing to put something on your watch list, you don't want to just put anything on there. You want something that is actively traded. So and you want something that you can buy and sell quickly, right? You don't want to buy something and then price goes up and you're unable to sell it because there are no buyers on the other side. So volume is very, very important. before something goes, or before a ticker goes on your watch list, you're going to qualify it. You're going to give it some qualifying criteria. You're going to say that maybe I only want stocks that move a minimum of 2 million or 1 million or 1.5. I will go with 1 million. 1 million is generally recommended as kind of the benchmark, the base for if it moves more than, if it's traded more than 1 million times every day, that's a good stock. Would you say that? So for that reason, since I have already pre-qualified everything on my watch list to make sure that it trades more than 1 million, I do not need to put the volume column on my options chain, and that's the no part of it. Right? I already know that if it's on my watch list, it has already met that qualification. And let's see.
You have had 2 hands raised for
2
quite
hands,
some
okay.
time.
Let's go with the hands raised.
Okay, Karen.
Hi, I just wanted to make sure I have clarity on the break even.
Mhm.
So in the example you gave, Apple moves up $2, I make my $100, I get out, I'm good to go.
Yes.
But if I'm holding it until expiration and it doesn't, and it moves that $2, then that's my break even, and I don't
Negative.
really make any money.
That is correct.
So the
Yep.
break even only really applies if we're factoring in that time, that
Yes.
time factor. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah, break even is only important at expiration. If you're not holding it for the full 48 days, don't worry about break even.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. No need to worry about, no need to, don't even calculate it. It has no bearing whatsoever, because you've noticed that, you know, all Apple has to do to help us make $100 is to move $2, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about break even.
Awesome. That's so helpful. Thank you so much, Eddie, and everyone.
You're welcome. Thanks, Karen.
Now you have April.
Hi, I have a question about volatility.
Yeah.
There's been cases where I have an option open and let's say I'm down, but in the morning time, it fluctuates wildly and I'm up, you know, for $200 or whatever for like, I don't know, 30 seconds.
Mhm.
And then it goes back down. Is it possible to capture that premium or capture that amount that I'm up before it goes back down, or does it move too fast that that's not really something that people are able to do?
Oh, it is possible. It is possible. So the best way to do that is by entering your order in a bracket order. Have you heard of bracket orders?
Yes, I'm familiar with bracket orders.
So bracket orders, and that's the beauty. That's one of the beauties of bracket orders, because the human is not fast enough to click on sell. You can't click on it fast enough to capture that moment when the volatility has helped that premium go up. So inside a bracket order, at least the computer is working for you, and that will sell. That's why sometimes you're in a trade so short a time that you can't even believe it. The shortest time I've been in a trade was 6 seconds. Right? I thought something had gone wrong, and I was, trying to figure out what was happening. Why was my order rejected? Turns out that my order actually went in, and this is what I'm talking about. When I right click on this and do buy custom and do with OCO bracket, and usually I will change this to trigger at $1 or however many dollars that I decide. But the price was executed, right? Bought the call. I clicked the wrong thing here. Let's try this again. Buy custom with OCO. Yep. By the way, did you see what mistake I made over there? I clicked on the sell instead of the buy. But I caught that error because the colors here tell me the difference. You need to pay attention to these colors. Green is buy, red is sell. That's how I knew that that didn't look right. So my order was executed by buying at whatever price that was. Price went up, or volatility was in my favor, and price went up by, I think it was like 5. I had put in a +5. Usually we'll put in something like that, and a stop loss of maybe 2. Right? Your mileage may vary. So got into the trade, price went up, in, I guess, less than that 6 seconds by $5, and I was out of the trade. So it entered, closed the trade, and I was up $500. 6 seconds. And I did not know it. So I thought the order had gone bad. That is how you capture volatility, by entering a bracket order. This will help you. It will
So
also,
even if it's like a limit or like how would I set it, as a limit or a market? Because
exactly as you see it, limit.
limit. Okay.
Yep, don't do market.
right. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, don't do market. So what's the difference between limit and market for those who don't know? When you tell the system to buy you or to enter you into a trade at the limit price of $10.35, you're locking that price in. You're telling the system that I don't want to pay any more than $10.35. Keyword is any more than $10.35. But you can get me into the trade at $10.30 or $9 or something. $10.35 is as much as I am willing to get into the trade. In fact, it goes even further. On Thinkorswim, if you lock this padlock, you're telling the system that I don't care whether the price is $10.34. I just want to buy it at $10.35, right? At $10.35. Do yourself a favor and unlock this padlock. Now you're telling the system, get me a price $10.35 or lower. Big difference. Big difference. I don't know whether other platforms do that. What is market? If I change this to market, I no longer have control of how much I get in. I'm just saying that whoever is willing to sell me one contract of Apple, just give it to me. I'll pay whatever price. And that price is very, very unpredictable. So don't do it. There are very, very few use cases when you need to do a market order as opposed to a limit. So great question there. Was that, who was that, Karen?
April.
April, yeah. Thank you, April.
Thank
So
you.
yes, always go with limit, and that will help you get in and out and actually capture that volatility. Let the system work for you. One other tip. By the time you see these candles paint on your screen, let's say you were on the 5 minute or the 1 minute, by the time this candle prints on your screen, that is history. It has already happened, right? It has already happened. So unless you have a crystal ball somewhere to know what's going to happen here, or that this kind of is going to be going up, you would, I don't know how you would know that. So take advantage of those automated order entry and exit systems to help you out, because a lot of times if you're in a bracket, you're probably going to be filled in this week. So there's the tip for you there.
Thank you.
Thank you, April.
Okay, you have one more. Oh, never mind. 2 hands raised. Let me see.
Let's go with the first
I don't
one,
know how to
the
say
one with the
that
iPhone.
one. Yes,
Okay.
you can unmute yourself. Tayo.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Eddie?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? It has been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, my question is, how much do you need to have in your account to do an option?
Okay. It's a great question. Let's go back to the trade over here. If I wanted to buy this trade here, the 160 call, how much is this going to cost me? $1,035, right? So that's how much I will need in my account plus the commissions. So commissions on Thinkorswim are usually around anywhere from 35 cents to 65 cents. I believe they start about 65 cents for Thinkorswim, and then they go down from there. You can always negotiate your cost, but right out the back, once you open your account, it's going to cost you 65 cents. So how much you need in your account is how much the premium is costing. If you can find an option premium that is costing less than what is in the ask price, say $500, that's how much you need in your account. In fact, let's go with a few examples here. I'm going to go with a very, very commonly traded security here. And I'm going to go with April. I'm just going to go with March 7. At the money, 52 cents. The 431 strike, I'm going to need $400, just under $400 to trade this. Right? How much can I potentially make? Every time it goes up by $1, I make $50. Right? Every time it goes up by $50. So to answer your question, it is on an individual trader basis and also on a platform basis, how much you need in your account when you open it. For Thinkorswim, I believe for you to have a margin account, even if you're not using margin, that's a separate discussion, you need $2,000. But you can open an account with as low as $500. Can you trade when your account has not yet reached 2,000? The answer is yes. Can you find stocks that have options priced at less than 500? You have just seen that. Answer is yes. In fact, on I think Thursday or Friday, it must have been Thursday. Thursday, I was helping a student who had $500 in her account, and she made a whopping $15. Her very, very fast trade. And she had $500 in her account. She could have made any number if she had waited, or if could have made $30, $40. But that is evidence and proof that you don't need a whole lot of money, but your account can grow very, very quickly using options. So hope that answers your question there.
One more question. Is it possible to trade with less than one option? So like less than 100 shares? Like could I do 50 or 25 or 75 even?
No.
No? Okay.
No. So one contract always represents 100 shares. In fact, when you look at the option chain, that's what that 100 represents. A long time ago, I think it might have been, might not have been 100, but for the last 10, 15 years as I've known it, it has always been 100. So one contract represents 100 shares always, no matter where you go. If you wanted to trade less, then you'd have to do shares. Yep. Yeah, you can buy partial shares, but not partial options. The lowest number of options contracts that you can buy is 1. Okay. Why should we turn the lock off?
Bev has a question.
Hey, Bev.
She's had her hand up for a while.
Okay, Bev.
Hi, Eddie.
Hey.
So you show how to do the bracket order on the desktop. When you do that on the phone, I don't see the option to sell at a limit using the +5 or like increase. You can only put like an actual number you want to sell it with. Do you use mostly the desktop, not your phone, for that reason?
I use the desktop version 100% of the time to enter my trades, because this is serious business for me. I rarely trade on my phone. When I look at my phone, it is for the purpose of maybe adjusting a trade and maybe just looking to see, how things are going. I need to go get a coffee. I need to step away from my computer and. Like most people, I don't walk anywhere without my phone.
Okay. And do you normally do like a +5 increase when you want to sell, or it depends on your target?
It depends on the trade itself. So I will always evaluate every trade individually. And how we do that is by looking at the chart to see what is my expected movement. So if I'm expecting a strong movement of say $10, then a +5 would be appropriate, right? If I'm expecting a movement of only $6, then a +3 would be appropriate.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right.
So and that's a subject also for maybe a little later on where we get into how do we actually make money on that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Eddie.
You're welcome. All right. Is that all the questions? Nobody else has their hands raised. Let's see what's on the chat. Why would we turn the lock off when doing an OCO? So Wendy wants to know, when I'm doing a trade, why do I, let me just pick a date here, 48 days. Why do I buy custom with OCO? She wants to know, why do I turn this lock off? It's so that I can get a better price. So 1623 is the limit, but I'm telling the system, please fill me at either 1623 or better. Okay, or better. That's why I turn the lock off. Okay. All right. And if I'm missing any questions, just go ahead and let me know. Go ahead. Somebody have a question?
I actually have a follow-up question to capturing that volatility in the morning. Let's say I've set my limit for $5, but it only gets up to $2. Is it still going to capture me at that $2, or have I set my limit too high?
Too high.
Okay.
Yep. It will do exactly as you tell it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. Hey, Inez, what's your question?
You also, I've seen you unlock the little link right there.
That one right there?
Yeah. Yes. Why do you do that?
Because if I get filled, remember when I open this padlock, I will get filled at 1623 or better, right? And I want to take my profit relative to how much I get filled. So if I lock these at 723, I'm saying that once it reaches 1723, then get me out, but conditions may have changed. So if I get filled at 1623, it is to my advantage still, but if I get filled at say $16 as opposed to 1623, then my profit at that point will be calculated at 1.23. You with me on that?
Yes.
Right. So what I do is I simply change or click that, I'll break that link and specify that I'm just looking for $100, which in premium world is 1. And when I do that, I also change my stop loss to -1 or whatever my stop loss here is. So stop loss, by the way, is a subject. It's subjective, I should say. It's a subjective number and is always based on your risk tolerance. That's number one. But it should also be based on what the potential for that trade is. It's not reasonable to expect to make $1,000 and you're only risking $1 or 100. Right? Say you had this as 10 instead of just 3 or 1, and you're risking 100. You're going to be stopped out here in a heartbeat. So if that were the case, then what the proper way to calculate your risk, some people will go 3-to-1. That's very, very common. So if you're thinking that you're going to make $1,000 or a premium increase of 10, then you might decide to go ahead and risk $3. How did I get to $3? It's simply 10 divided by 3.
Gotcha. Thank you.
1/3. And that could be very, very specific and say 3 point something, but I like whole numbers. The market likes whole numbers.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, good deal.
Ro has a question. She's up next.
Hey, Rolandia.
Hi, Eddie.
Hey.
You talked earlier about implied volatility for that particular underlying.
Yes.
What is a good number to look for implied volatility if we're buying?
No idea.
Oh.
No idea. in the same sentence that I talked about implied volatility, I think I also said that that number is different for each stock, right? And there are many factors. So in order to know what a good implied volatility number is, you have to know your stock. That's the part that of knowing your stock comes in, so that you identify that if I have a 30% IV on what am I looking at here, SPY, for this particular contract date, is that good, is that high, or is that low? Okay, so that knowledge comes with watching SPY and putting it on your watch list for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Or you might want to go to on demand to see what the volatility is on a particular date, and that will help you see how that volatility has changed. So that's also very subjective because it is based on so many other things in the market. 30% for SPY might be different for Apple. We can see that Apple here on the same date of 22nd April, it has an IV of 37. There are people who trade entirely on IV basis and depend on IV crash to help them trade. For example, when you're doing credit spreads, that's something, by the way, that I teach in my course about how to take advantage of those things to your benefit, right? To your benefit, to know when's the best time to enter a credit spread. How do I use that to your advantage? How do I make it work for me as opposed to just winging it, right? So
that makes sense. Thank you.
Yep. So that IV, mind you, is different from volatility that is expressed in the VIX.
Right.
Right. So VIX is volatility. This kind of volatility for the stock basis is implied volatility. Two different things, but they have the same basis.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Good question. Wow, you guys don't have too many questions then. All right.
I have another question, but I don't know if it's appropriate for today.
That's fine.
When do you decide if you want to buy a call versus sell a put?
All right. Buy a call versus sell a put. Do you mean buy a call versus sell a call? Or do you really mean buy a call, sell a put?
Let me think about that.
Sorry, I confused you. It's actually sell a put.
No, because if you buy a call, you think the price is going to go up.
Okay.
If you buy a put, you think the price is going to go down.
So
but
far, so good.
Sell a put, you think the price is going to go up. So yeah, I'm comparing selling a put to buying a call.
All right, awesome. So let's consider the two first and foremost. When we buy a call, what is the maximum potential profit? Or what's the potential profit on that?
When
I want you to help me. Yeah, when I buy a call, how much potentially could I make?
It's infinite, isn't it?
It's infinite, right? Or it's undefined. We don't know.
Right.
Right. Let's do an example on that one. When we buy a call, say at the money for at the 160 strike for 1035, right? Looking at the chart here for Apple, and I'm going to go here with 9 months, 1 day. Apple could potentially go to 182, right? So 182, that's about $25 expected movement, yes?
Yes.
And my potential profit there is unlimited because it could reach that 182, break that 182, and just keep going. In fact, I did see on CNBC that somebody says they expect the price of Apple to reach 250 within a year, right? So that upside potential is great. You can hold it, but your contract, by the way, has got an expiration date.
Right.
It's got an expiration date. So if you have a longer dated expiration contract, say a 2-year contract, then you'll be fine, right? You can reap those benefits. When you sell a put. Let's say I sell a put at sell a put at what? 150. right? I'm saying that the price of Apple is not going to go below 150. That is your thesis when you sell a put.
Right.
You with me so far?
Uh-huh.
And how much will I benefit from that, from selling that put? You can see my mouse is pointing here at the $3.50. I'm on the bid column. By the way, when you're selling, you're going to be pressing the bid column. So how much will that cost me, or how much will that credit me?
$300.
$350, right?
Yeah.
Will I be receiving a credit, or will I be paying $350?
You'll get a credit.
I'll get a credit for $350. That's selling, right? The maximum profit that I can get is $350.
Okay.
That's the maximum, because that you cannot get. They're not going to come back and give me some more money. Give me a pat on the shoulder and say, Eddie, good job. That was a really beautiful trade. Here's like $50. Nah, they're going to be like, dude, man, you got us this time.
Okay, I totally get it. Thank you for that, because I've asked that question several times and I have not gotten everybody says, well, it just depends on what you want to do. And so this makes totally good sense. I totally get it. Thank you.
You're welcome. There's a caveat. I want to add some more to that scenario there, because when you sell, you also have to think about what is your risk, right?
Yes.
What is your risk? So when you sell a put, what if the price of Apple actually fell below 150?
Then I lose that credit.
You're going to be losing that credit and a whole lot more. How much potentially more? You can go all the way to zero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you were unfortunate enough and you decided to buy a Russian ETF. What is the possibility? Very high.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't sell.
Okay.
Don't sell nothing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I haven't felt comfortable with selling anything, so I just follow my foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And somebody's helping you also in the chat over there. Unless you have a level 5 privilege, you cannot sell by itself. It's called selling naked. Nothing to do with clothing here, by the way. It's just that the naked part of it is that there are no underlying shares to cover that risk. So
because I do have a level 5, but I don't know what it means exactly, and it's been kind of making me nervous.
Yeah, don't mess with level 5. You don't need it at this point. But you can sell. You can sell with level 3, and the only time that we recommend selling is if you're buying at the same time. And that's the topic for another discussion here. We call vertical spreads, right?
Okay.
So when we're doing vertical spreads, again, that is something that I teach very extensively. About 10 different types of spreads. You guys might have heard of maybe 1 or 2. But there are about 8 to 10 different type of spreads that I actively teach at Options with Eddie. So when you want to do a spread, then you will be doing 2 things. You will be buying and selling at the same time, sort of insurance. Okay. Cool. That was a good question there.
Yeah, 2 more questions. You got Inez.
Yes, Coach Eddie, you may not, okay, this may be dumb, but this is what I have done. I want to buy custom with just a stop. And as I'm watching it increase or go up, then I want to close it myself. Mm-hmm. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. You can do any type of stops. Somebody's talking about a trailing stop, but the way that you described it, I believe you described a situation where you are buying
custom with the stop.
With just a stop, and you do not have a take profit order. Is that right?
Exactly.
You just want it to go up, and you want to manually go in and
yes.
Close it yourself. So in that case, what you can do is you can do, let's set that up. That's really easy to set up. All I would do is click on, the order as though you are buying a single call or put, right? That's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing we'll do is change this from a single order. You see where it says advanced single order?
Yes.
We'd simply change that to fast triggers OCO, right? Then what can I do now? I can now right click anywhere on this green and place the stop. The stop will be duplicate or will it be opposite? It's going to be the opposite of this, right?
Yes.
To close the trade. So we're going to do an opposite order because now it's a sell, and I will put in a stop. How much do you want to risk on this one?
200 or $2.
$2. All right. So the number that I will put in here is
$2. 2.
Let's try that again. Maybe
$1.
8.35.
Oh, it's 8. Okay. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yep. So you want to risk $2, then I take
Thank
$2
you.
from the premium, and I want to change that to a stop, right? That is a common mistake that I have seen. I have seen people say that I want to risk $2, and so they put $2 over here. Well, guess what? What you're saying in this scenario is that as price can drop all the way to $2, that is when I will get stopped out.
Okay.
Not
That's
good.
what I've been doing.
What you really mean to
Thank
do is to say that I am getting into this trade at $10.35. I am willing to lose just $2. So it means that when price reaches, hear this out now, 1035 minus 2, which is 8.35, at that point I will have lost $2, yes?
Right.
So I can now confirm and send and say, you notice that I only have a order entry and I have a stop loss. That's it. So confirm and send. If you notice that I have just one bracket order that is buy and sell, and I do not have a take profit, I'm going to go ahead and send this. Okay. So it is possible to do that. Now, if I go to my monitor screen, I only have 2 working orders. My order to open and my order to close.
Wow.
Yeah.
When will this recording be available?
As soon as it bakes.
You're like, okay. All right. Let's throw it in the oven. Thank you.
All right. So since I don't want to send that order, I just hit right click and I cancel. I don't want
Okay.
This is my
you.
paper trading, by the way, so I'm comfortable doing all of this. Great question there, Ines. Thank you. Oh, by the way, do I recommend doing that? If you have a platform that only allows you to do either a take profit or a stop loss, then I recommend the stop loss instead of the take profit. You already know how to make the money. You also need to know how to keep that money. So if your platform, and I know some like TradeStation or Robinhood or Webull, they only allow you to do a bracket order with just 2 things in it. So if you have a choice and of just one other thing, I would suggest the stop loss is better off. All right, let's see. Rolandia, do you still have a question?
Yeah, it's totally different. I wanted your opinion on trading SPX. I've been focusing all of my attention on just trading SPX. I either buy calls or buy puts.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good strategy. How's that working for you?
It's worked really well, actually. If in my real account, I've traded it 4 times and 3 out of the 4 were winners. So, and the loss wasn't that bad. I like the fact that it moves so fast, like, cause I'm just not a very patient person. So I love that it moves and you have to watch it and, get out when you see a good profit.
Awesome. So I like your question because you've also demonstrated that most good traders, or no, actually not just good traders who are winning most of the time will usually have about 7 out of 10 trades will go well, right? So when you're winning 3 and out of 4, that's about 75%. So you have a 75% win rate over there. Shall we say that?
Yeah.
And that's pretty good. And you also said that even the one that you lost, it wasn't bad. Again, a good thing because you had proper risk management. And let's talk about risk management, by the way. If you ever have a risk management situation and decide that your stop loss will destabilize your account, then that's not a good trade, right? So you always have to have good risk management. So there are plenty of people on this call I know who like the SPX. I am one of them. I love the SPX. I trade that one every single day I can, except Friday. I don't trade on Friday. That's just in my trading plan, by the way. Not because that Friday has got anything. So I trade SPX, I trade Amazon, I trade everything that moves. But so quick break over here. Let's just make sure that we are all on the same page. Today we're talking about options. We've talked about the option chain. We introduced some Greeks. We settled on the Greeks that are important to us. We said that strike is important, at the money or slightly in the money is super important for us. We decided also that when we're deciding which strike to choose to enter a trade, we're going to go with the one that has a delta of 50 and above, minimum of 50. So my personal preference, your mileage may vary, is 50 to 70 delta. So just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. When you're expecting the price of the underlying to increase, so moving from 160 to 165 to 170 and so on and so forth, you're going to be choosing the premium that is on the ask column, right? The premium that is on the ask column. Let me go back to Apple here. That's the one that we've been using as an example. So you're going to be choosing this number that is on the ask column when you're expecting price to go up, okay? When you're expecting price of the underlying to go down, then you're going to be using puts, and you're going to be again clicking on the ask column. At this very level, if you are just venturing into the world of options, you don't need to be concerned about the bid column. That's the sell, right? And we've already seen and discussed that sell, not a good thing on its own. It has got some risks that are huge. They can wipe out your account. So for now, don't click on sell. Always click on the ask column, right? Always click on the ask column. So that's just to level set for people entering into options. There's a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more about options. This was just scratching the surface for those of you who are already into options. You know that you can get an options trading plan, right? You want to make $200, $300 every single day. Yes, you can do that. You want to make $500 every week. We have a plan for that, and I will show you how to do that. And let me stress again very, very much that you can lose. You can lose quickly, and you can gain quickly. Hey, thanks for reminding me, Inez. Options with Eddie. Hey, Brittany, could you post that link there for me? Let's see whether I can get it real quick here. There we go, optionswitheddie.com. So you can gain a lot of money very quickly. You can also lose a lot of money very quickly. So risk management is part and parcel of options trading. And the reason that we love options is because of that ability to create consistent weekly income, right? I call it weekly because I don't count my profits every day or losses every day. I sum them up. I have a weekly target that I'm going for. I do not trade, by the way, based on how much I got or won last trade or lost. Every trade has got to be good on its own merit. If you also know me, I only take A+ trades, and in my training I will teach you what is an A+ trade. What does that look like? How do you, and I'm hesitating to use the word guarantee, so instead I'm going to use the word, how do you assure yourself of a better probability of success? How do you improve that probability of success for your trades? Very, very important. We also talk about how to trade in this kind of market. If you've noticed, right about now, actually not just now, but over the last few months, I would say. Let me see if I can go to 1 year. Yeah, maybe I'll even go to 18 months. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go 18 months. So I'm looking at the chart of the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is an index that tracks about 500 companies in the United States. It is representative. It is the benchmark for how the economy is running, how the stock market is performing. And notice that it has been on a very long trajectory. In fact, if we start over from if we start from October of, basically my chart is going, I think 2 years maybe. Notice that we've been on an uptrend. We've just been going up, but recently we broke that trend, and we're going back to some level that we had achieved or gone back to back in I want to say July of last year. We're back to where we were July last year. Do we think that this is going to continue going down? Maybe for a little bit, but then it's going to turn around. This is called a correction. We're in correction territory. In the trading world, correction refers to when the difference in price from the highest point that we were, which was 48.18, if we drop 10% or thereabouts, that is considered a correction, right? That is considered a correction. And when you see prices starting to consolidate like this, we are now getting ready to bounce back up. That is consistent with the seasonality of the S&P 500. Right around March is when we start turning around and go back up. So, all right. Am I still sharing my screen, by the way?
Yes, and
Okay.
Sammy has a question.
Okay.
No, we
good.
don't see the screen. I just see people on my screen.
Okay. Anybody else seeing just people?
No, I see your screen.
You see this? Okay.
I see your screen. I see your screen.
Well,
Yeah, I think that's just a personal problem.
yeah, that might be isolated. Reminds me of the movie Nightmare on Elm Street. She sees people.
Hey, Eddie. I just wanted to ask a little bit more on the SPX. What's the good time in terms of the trading day? What's a good time to trade the SPX? Is it at the beginning of the market in the first hour, or towards the end of the market?
Well, that question is actually subjective, because it depends on your trading style and your trading plan, whatever it is that what your objective is. So there are so many strategies for the SPX. If you're doing calls and puts,
I do.
Yeah, if you're trading calls and puts, then you might want to wait a little bit in the morning before you get in, to wait for market direction. If you're doing credit spreads, then you may want to get in closer to 9:45, 10 o'clock, once you determine the direction. And then again, that's an advanced subject that I go in and teach you how to do the SPX. I can teach you how to trade everything else and then teach you how to trade SPX. I usually treat those as two distinctly different topics, because the SPX is a little special, I would say. But you can trade any time of the day between 9:30 and 4 o'clock Eastern time, right? As long as you understand what you're doing, as long as you understand the volatility, momentum, direction, all those things that go into the market, and your trading strategy.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, I was trying verticals, but it's been interesting, especially in these current times, just trying to
Right.
find direction.
Yes, I spend a lot of time, dissecting when is a good time for vertical and that kind of thing. So that's more specialized. I think if we talk about verticals today, it will confuse a whole lot of people that are new to options. So, but contact me. You have my
All right.
contact information. I put it in there. Options with Eddie, or if you need my email as well, I'm going to type it in here. It is simply info@optionswitheddie. How creative can that be?
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Maureen, what's going on?
Hi, Eddie. I'm not sure if this is something that you want to get into today, but could you do an OCO order for CCS?
Yeah. So you would be trading on the SPX, I imagine. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to only spend maybe 1 minute on that one. How about that?
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Great.
so to get into an OCS, a CCS, and for those of you that are new to this, CCS stands for call credit spread. So Maureen is trying to make money here by receiving credit on the SPX, which is the S&P 500. And since that is most commonly done on 0 DTE, today being a Saturday, the closest we can go is 7 March. And so CCS, first I would look at the chart to see where we are, and give me some numbers. I'll go with your numbers. Maureen, 44 something?
You could go with 44, 4,500.
4,500?
Yeah.
That's wishful thinking.
Yeah, I know.
I'll help you out. I will go 6 deep. Okay. 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that is going to be all right. Before I do that, I just noticed my numbers are a little bit off. To do a vertical spread, I need to change this from single to vertical. Okay. And then I'm going to go 6 deep, meaning I'm just counting 6 strikes out of the money, right? Out of the money. So the reason I'm only going to spend a minute on this is because I don't want to confuse people. I just told people here to be buying in the money, but I'm selling out of the money. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right now I can get $2.05 on this particular one, right? And I want to do a bracket order. Is this realistic? Yes, it is realistic, given that this is 2 DTE. So on Monday, will this be realistic? The answer is no. So more realistic would be what? Maybe 70 cents, 75?
Yeah, 80 cents, yeah.
Yep, about 75. So I know that this price is going to decay by Monday, and at the market open, depending on what it is trading at, about 75 seems a bit more reasonable. So to do a bracket order on that one, I'll do the same thing. Click on advanced, single order, fast triggers OCO. I would right click anywhere on this red and choose an opposite order, right? So Maureen, you know to buy this back at how much?
10 cents.
Yep, 10 cents. And you also know that I have to do a risk management order on it. So this is going to be a stop, and I'm going to stop at, what is my 1x rule?
85 cents.
More like 150.
Okay.
Right? More like 150, because I am selling high, buying low. So if the price or if the value of the spread increases, then I want to protect myself on the upside. So that is how you do a vertical OCO. You see that?
Yes.
All right. 1 minute is over.
You.
You're welcome. All right, I'll leave that up there for a minute if you want to take a screenshot. Let's see, Karen. Karen, you have a question?
I do, and it's not directly calls and puts related, but I know there's something you can click on in Thinkorswim to give you a list of stocks that have gapped. And I was wondering if you could show that because
Yes, to do that, I actually have to go to my live account.
Oh, okay.
And I happen to have my live account open here at the same time. So you're in luck. Can you see my live account?
Sure can. Thank you.
And I'm going to click on watch list over here. I'm going to go to public. I'm going to choose F through N because G starts with a G. Gap down starts with a G and it falls between the F and the N.
Got it.
And you have your gap down and your gap up.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That is only on the live account. I do not think is available on the paper trading.
It's not, and that must be why I couldn't find it.
Yep, it is not available on the paper trading. So good question there, because there are people who trade gaps up and down. So it's important to know where to go find the kind of stocks that will usually gap up. Okay. So Dora wants to know, for my 8-week course, since it's basic to advanced, when would I start? So I'm starting at the basic. For example, do you restart the 8 weeks every 2 months? Yes, I do. So I do have a basic class that is starting on Tuesday, every other Tuesday, that goes for 8 weeks. So Dora, just go ahead and contact me. We'll set up the dates and help you out. The maximum class size is 10. So once it reaches 10, I stop and you have to wait for the next one. So
Yvonne has a question also. She's had her hand up for a while.
Yeah, hang on a second. If you already have some basic information on options, is the price still the same? Yes, it is still the same. Because we simply start at where you are and go all the way to as advanced as you can handle it. And we can go pretty deep on that. Right? And let's see. Can a husband and wife pay one price? Yes, you're in the same house, by all means. If you attend the session together, that's cool. All right, Tendai, how much? Just go to options with Eddie and you will see the different prices there. All right, Yvonne, what's up?
Hey, I wanted to know, I was thinking about just focusing on trading ETFs, and I wanted to know what you think about that.
You can trade anything. ETFs are a great way to limit your exposure. So why would anybody want to trade ETFs versus stocks? Let's say I want to trade Amazon. I really love Amazon. I really love Tesla. I love, whatever XYZ stock, but I want to limit my exposure to the risk. At that particular point, what I would do is choose an ETF. By the way, an ETF is an exchange traded fund. That's what ETF stands for. And ETFs will normally be managed by a fund, and they've got all these stocks that are in them. They've got all these stocks that are inside them. So let's take an example. Let's say that you wanted to trade stocks that are rich in the technology sector. Right? Then you would go for something that like the XLK. Right. So let's look at the XLK. I'm just going to add it here to my watch list here. XLK. And that's just one of them. There are thousands of them basically. And I look and see how the XLK is going. It seems to be following pretty closely what the stock market is doing, right?
Right.
So I can trade. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
now I'm looking at the XLK. There we go. Right? Or if I wanted to get an ETF that follows the financial industry, that would be XLF. Right? So XLF, I'm talking about the banks, I'm talking about American Express. Maybe I've noticed that American Express is doing extremely well or extremely poorly, as the case may be here. Right? And I don't want to expose my risk on just one stock.
Right.
Right? That would be a good use case for getting into what did I say? ETF.
Right.
Right. So yeah, my opinion on ETFs is positive. In fact, if those are things that you can actually buy and hold for the longer term. XLK is actually coming into a really nice zone, and if you buy this on a longer term, then you will benefit, because they do tend to get back in the April timeframe. So if you're going for an ETF, definitely go a little longer, as long as you can.
Okay.
Maybe in the September, the January timeframe of next year, and that will work very well for you.
Oh, wow. Go out that far.
You can go out that far. That would be known as a leap, long-term equity anticipated security.
So do you get out before? Can you get out before, or you want to keep it till then?
No, you can get out tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, you as soon as you see the green, you take it.
Okay.
Because
So,
you know it's going to come down. That's the reason you do that. So to help you out, you need to know its seasonality, to know when does it perform its best.
Okay.
And just before it reaches the peak, that is when you get out, you take your profit. And if you really insist on trading that all the time, go ahead and reinvest those profits as opposed to the whole capital.
Okay. So now another question I had was on Thinkorswim. On the monitor tab,
yep.
When you close a position or a trade, how do you find out what your what you made on the like on the account statement, or
okay, like how much profit there was?
Profit,
okay.
yeah.
So you can do some calculations. That information is actually on the website when you log into your TD Ameritrade account online in the client center. But inside Thinkorswim, in the monitor tab, just like you said, you can go to your account statement. And once you're inside the account statement, there is this section here called cash and sweep vehicle. See that?
Right.
And cash and sweep vehicle, you can see that it has got all your transactions here. So right now you're looking at my transactions for futures. Every once in a while, I am doing futures, and I get in and out very, very quickly. So today we're not talking about futures, but I do trade some futures every once in a while. But this is where you would look at all your transactions. You can see how much you bought, how much you sold, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
That is where you can go.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yep. So this is my what? This is my paper trading. So you can look at my account numbers. Doesn't really matter. No harm on that. Yep. Paper trading. Paper trading, I show everything. All right. Let's see. Do I teach futures? No, I'm not teaching futures. No. Okay. What are some of the advanced strategies that you teach in your course? People like debit spreads. People like iron condors. They like short butterflies. They like long butterflies, but not as much as the short butterflies. We also do the broken wing strategy, another very, very popular strategy. So with those, you are increasing your probability of profit. You're also increasing your risk. So those are things that I'm pretty sure you've not been taught in that other course that you might have been in. But Sandra, that's what I teach. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Let's do a quick time check. We are at 1:11 Eastern Time. We're at 1:11 Eastern Time. All right, good deal. Awesome. So I will post this link as soon as possible to those who registered. I have your emails because you registered, so I'll send you the link directly. And then my next class is going to be a little bit more advanced, and it is going to be in about 2 weeks. We're going to go through actual trading plans, actually making that money, see how you can get into the habit of making a consistent habit. Is that a good word? Get into the rhythm of making money. I think that's much better. Get into the rhythm of that. I also do have office hours on Fridays if you are in Atlanta. If you're in Atlanta, then I do have office hours on Fridays. I have actually met a few students over the last few Fridays. I did secure a spot in downtown Lawrenceville. Very, very convenient. It's very private, and we can do a one-on-one in person. If you're in ATL, you just have to contact me, and we'll meet. That's my preferred place. I don't like to go too far out, but I have found that would be working for me. So hope you all enjoyed this, and this was just a taste of what
Hey, Eddie.
Options with Eddie is all about.
Eddie,
Yes.
I just wanted to say real quick, I could probably jog over to you.
How do we what?
I said I could probably jog over to you. I didn't know you were that close.
Yeah. I'm very close. Who's this? Is this Maureen?
This is Maureen. Mhm.
Okay.
I'm in Loganville.
Loganville. All right. Yes, I'm over here in Gwinnett County. So yeah, if you want to link up, yeah, that's not too far from me. It's
Yes.
what, 10 minutes, 20 minutes maybe?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Any last minute questions before we call it an evening or an afternoon? Let me just paste over here again that link where you can get a whole lot of information about me. It is on where is it? Post to everybody. Oh, by the way, if you can help me out, guys, if you can help me out by subscribing to my channel, I do have a few public videos that I'll be posting there, so your motivation definitely helps me out. So go ahead and subscribe to that. I will be certainly posting quite a few things for free at no cost to anybody. It's just public, so you can help me out on that YouTube. So very cool.
Eddie, this is Yvonne. I had another question.
Hey, Yvonne.
Hey, so your classes that you have, is that only for the people that sign up for you?
No, it's for everybody. In fact, a lot of my students are not from. I think you know where I'm going with this. It's for anybody.
Okay, is there a charge for the next classes or?
Yes, there will be, and I will let you know how much that is.
Okay, all right, sounds great.
Yeah. Cool.
Hi, Eddie. This is Tanya. So your Saturday classes will be different
They will be different.
than the Tuesday class
Yes.
course. Okay.
They will be different. So the Saturday, which is more public, is going to cover different things. Right? It's going to cover different things every other Saturday. Today's was simply very, very basic. Very, very basic. So I will actually lay out the different things that I want to cover, and that is why there's going to be a small charge for it, just to help me support that Zoom. And I'm expecting that. Let me see. Did we hit capacity today? No. Yeah, but I'm expecting that it's going to hit capacity. I'm going to have to increase my Zoom to hold a few more people than the 100. So.
Okay. When will you be sending the information out?
I will post it on the Options with Eddie Facebook page.
Okay.
Hey, Eddie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Eddie, this is Itayo. I want to ask a question about this course. That means that you say eight session, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You have to start all over again. You have to pay all over again after you do that 8 session.
No, you just pay one time for the 8 sessions.
Okay, then you pay one time. Then you keep on. You are basically you are in the class like forever until.
No, 8 times. So we will cover the course from start to finish in 8 weeks. That is the basis, right? But you will have access to me. The difference here is that I teach live. It's not just, you're not just watching the videos. You will have the videos, for you forever, right? But for me, live in person, we will schedule 8 specific times when I'm teaching, right?
Okay, I get you.
So that's the way that works.
Okay, you said every other Saturday That is not free, correct? Do you know how much that's going to be every other Friday, Saturday?
No, not yet, but it's going to be just a small charge.
Okay, I get you. Okay, let me just I'm coming from the other side anyway, but just to ask you more questions, I just want to understand that 8 weeks. That means after you finish that 8 weeks, do you start all over again, or do you start the course all over again?
No, you don't have to start the course all over again. You will have access to the videos that we record.
Okay.
And you will have access to all the material that I provide.
Okay.
You just won't have me live in person available to you. Yeah.
Okay.
But you will have ongoing support. You will have membership to the private Facebook group that is with Options with Eddie. And then you will actually have access to a lot more material than you previously did.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool. You're welcome.
Inez has her hand raised.
Hey, Inez, do you have another question?
Inez?
No, maybe she left her hand up.
No.
Oh, okay.
I was asking about the I'm in a one-on-one with you now, and I mean I've learned so much. I make $3,000 to $4,000 a week. I'll lose it, but I'm making it. Awesome. But I would like to know, once that is over, can I pay again and do a group session?
Yes. So that's one of the benefits. Once you join and either complete the course or you're just in the course, you become part of a group that I have set up, and I will send you some information, Inez, that you'll be able to collaborate with others as well. You'll be able to share ideas. Every once in a while, we do have an open trading room. I think our last trading room was, when was that, Brittany? Was that Tuesday, something like that?
No, it was on Thursday.
Great.
This week? Yeah, we had a trading room this week, but we also have another trading room that we meet almost every other day, and you get to be a part of that.
Thank you.
You get to see my thought process. You get to see me trade. I trade with you guys. I take your trades. We win together. We lose together. We recover. We strategize. We analyze the market, and we call it the power morning. So it goes on for about 2 hours in the morning. So.
All righty. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. And that's about the only way, by the way, that you get access to all the information. So notice that all my other previous videos, I threw those away. They belonged to, they had some, they were for a specific purpose. So this is all new strategy. It's working, and it's building great community. A lot of people making money. So Ines, thank you, by the way, for that story. You're making 3K. And this is live, by the way. This is live. Not
yes,
seen.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's a success story that I should point out.
Okay, Eddie, this is Yvonne. I have one more question. Something just came up. So you offer you offer one-on-one coaching, which is, that's the initial, and then you offer the class. Yes. So if I was to do the one-on-one coaching, would I be able to go to the live coaching session and all that, or is that just for your group, your main group?
So if it is the one-on-one coaching, if it's a one session, that's just one.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And the relationship kind of ends there. But if you join the course, then you become part of that group that has got continuing support. And that's actually the better deal. Because on a one-on-one, there's simply not enough time. There's simply not enough time to go through so many of the things that go into successful trading. It is sometimes it actually turns out into a troubleshooting session, which you can troubleshoot anywhere, but if you want that ongoing support and you want access to me, then the 8 week is the better deal.
Okay, all right, and then you get all the live coaching, the live sessions, you get all that, all those different things that you can be part of.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Eddie. I got a quick question, if I may.
Yes.
Hi. I've had my one-on-one with you, as you know, and the course material I may have already be aware of or have that knowledge already. So if I wanted to be part and parcel of the group, would it still be necessary to, and the only way to do so would be to have to do the course?
To buy the course, yes. So when you're buying the course, really you're buying the whole package. You're buying my presence, you're buying that one-on-one, you're buying that ability to collaborate with others. You're getting access to all the videos that I make. These days I make very, very specific videos for specific topics. They are not 1 hour long, by the way. So, because I know my videos do tend to be kind of long, but these are short 20-minute videos on a, we're hitting a topic, one example or two examples. That's one video, right? So you get access to those. So,
Okay.
So the one-on-one session that's just one consultation, that will not cover it. You need a bit more.
Okay. Yeah. So if I do 6 of those one-on-ones, it might cover it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Eddie. Appreciate you.
You're most welcome.
Hey, Eddie.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to, if I want to join the program today, do you have like any discount going on or anything like that?
I did have a discount earlier on, but no, I do not. So maybe I will have a discount at some point, but at this point, but thanks for
because you have a lot of people, a lot of new people. This is my first time joining this class.
Yes.
I just saw it about a few hours ago.
Understood. But I like the thought, so I will think about that, and if that's possible in the next within time, then I will obviously offer it. So
okay, you said for the every 2 weeks, how they do are you going to send out that information?
Yes, I will.
The cost of that. Okay,
I will.
Thank you.
And I will post that on the Facebook public page for options with Eddie. So
okay, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Hey, Eddie, I have 2 quick questions. I know we're out of time. The first question is, I was just trying to sign up for one of your sessions. Okay. Can you make that sign up form? Can you make that electronic? Because I have no access to a printer where I am.
Can I make it electronic? Yes.
Yeah, like DocuSign or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a PDF. I think that's just the agreement that you have to. You can electronically sign it. That's cool.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks. I don't know how to do that. I'll have to figure it out.
Okay. And Brittany here is reminding us, excuse me, is reminding, oh man, I need some water. Excuse me. Yeah, she's reminding us to raise our hands so that we're not talking over each other. Excuse me. Okay, let's see. Any other questions out there? Tendai, do you have a question?
Oh yeah, I just asked you the question about DocuSign, the form.
So that was you. Okay.
That was me. And the second one was, with that consultation session, are you able to help me with just like, I just need help with trading, just starting. Is that enough time?
Yes, there is. So remember that the one-time consultation session is usually about 1 hour and 15 minutes or 75 minutes. So if we can cover it in that time, then we will.
Yeah. And do I have to have the platform that you use, or can I use TradeStation?
You can use whatever platform that you have, as long as I know how to use it. I will help you. And I think I'm familiar with most platforms, but just to be clear, the ones that I'm most familiar with is the Thinkorswim platform, which is my platform of choice. It's made by TD Ameritrade. And then TradeStation is very, very common. These days, I'm also using interactive brokers, and that's because I have a lot of Canadian students who that's the only platform that they can use. There's another one called Quest Trade. I have not signed up for Quest Trade. They seem to be, I don't know, too complicated for me, so I might not even pursue it. But I like interactive brokers because you can use it in Canada. You can also use it in Europe. You can use it in Africa. I tested it out just in December to make sure that it actually works. So it is working. But if you're in the US and you are looking for a platform, my recommendation is Thinkorswim, the one that you're looking at right now. I tell you what, if you signed up, I'm seeing so many direct emails here. If you signed up today on that Eventbrite sign, I will go ahead and give 10% off on the 8-week, just for today. So if you signed up, meaning that you signed up on the Eventbrite link, then you get 10% off today. I will honor that. Cool. Any other questions? I see 2 hands raised, but I think I've answered those questions from Inez and Tayo, right? Nicole. Hey, Nicole, how you doing?
Hey, Eddie, how you doing? Thanks. Cool. Thanks for doing this. I was calling. My question was for like the one-on-one. Would it be beneficial or more beneficial if you've already been trading and you kind of know what your issues are? So, for example, I'm having issues with finding intermediate zones or something like that.
Would it be, and you've been trading? Yes. I think it would be beneficial. I have had one-on-ones with people who've been trading a long time and they need help with things like a trading plan, or they need help with a particular concept or a new strategy. So if we know that in advance and you talk with me and I can let you know, if it's a 5-minute thing, I can help you out for sure. But if you need a little bit more time, then yes, you can certainly benefit. You can certainly benefit. Yeah. And then I see another question here. Somebody already signed up for an 8-week. Can I do a live trading session? Yes, sure. Yep. I'm going to invite you there. I'm just going to say the first letter of your name, K, so you know who I'm talking to. Okay. Can I use TOS if I travel to Canada? Yes, you can. If you already have Thinkorswim, if you already have an account on TD Ameritrade on Thinkorswim and you travel, you can use it. All you need is an internet connection. So I have tested this out extensively. A lot of you know that I took a small vacation last year, and I tested trading on Thinkorswim with good connection, poor connection, Wi-Fi on Safaricom and all that. It worked beautifully. So yes, you can use it around the world. Internet only required.
Hey, Eddie.
Yes.
Yeah, I raised my hand. I don't know if it's my turn yet or
sure.
not.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you for that 10% discount. Thank you. Okay, which site are we going to go to sign up again?
Optionswitheddie.com.
Okay, do you have a code that we need to use, or is already?
Well, since I just thought about this, I don't have a code. Just let me know 10%. I will know what you're talking about.
Okay, do you want me to send you an email or something?
No, just put it in the comments when you sign up.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Let's see. We've got one more raised hand. Tanya, I think you're going to be our last caller. So Tanya, what's your question?
Okay, one last question. How often is the live training?
How often is the live training?
Yes.
If you sign up for the 8-week program, it is 8 times.
Oh. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
A-
And then do it
and it's
start all
also
over after the 8 weeks is up?
structured. It is also structured. So I've got things that I have planned out for every session, and that's why it runs 8 weeks. It will take me 8 weeks to go from start to finish. So yeah, you get to talk with me live 8 times, and then after that, you just have access to me via the group and the occasional live trading.
Okay. Okay. Sound
Right.
good. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So when does it start? It actually started. I've got a few students that started on that are starting on Tuesday. So the class sizes, I keep them very, very small so that I can give individual attention. I started off with 5, but I found that I was having difficulty scheduling everybody. So now the maximum is 10 per class, twice a week. And then if those are full, then you just have to wait until the next month because it's just me and I want to be live. So, right. Awesome. All right. Yes, I will start all over every 8 weeks. Every 8 weeks. Masha. Well, thanks for all your questions. You have my information, and thank you so much for your support for this very, very fast session of Saturdays with Eddie or Options with Eddie. I know a lot of you. Let me stop sharing here so that I can see your faces. I cannot see your faces here. There we are. Now, oh, yeah, I see myself. Cool. So yeah, thanks again. I just want to say that I have received a ton of messages of support, and I worked with many of you for about a year or so on Saturdays, or 3 times a month. So this is not affiliated with any other program. I should say that I am not affiliated with any other program. This is completely on my own, Options with Eddie. So that is just want to be clear. So you don't have to have experience from anybody else. You can just come in off the street. In fact, a lot of my students have not undergone any other training or any other trading program, and we're able to work from wherever they are all the way to where they're making consistent weekly income. That is the difference. The difference with my program is that I want you to be making money. And I'm not talking about SIM. I don't care how much you make in SIM, right? You can make your $1,000, $2,000 in SIM. It doesn't mean much to me. What is more important is that can you make that same amount of money in your live environment safely, as well as be able to make that consistently, not just one time, because a lot of us are hurting. A lot of us are grinding the wheels. This overload of information. There is way too much happening. How do we make it happen? So this is what I'm trying to do, to fill that gap and to be as deliberate as possible. And I hope I can teach you something. I think I can teach. I think I can. What do you guys think? Yep. I think I can. So we'll help you. We'll help you. All right. Who has the honor of the last question? All right.
I have a question about momentum. What do you do to, what's your process in the morning to determine market momentum?
Okay. So market momentum is important when you're trading something like the SPX or pretty much any other thing. So the SPX is the S&P 500. I look at the futures ticker symbol ES. You familiar with that, Rolandia?
Vaguely.
Vaguely, all right. So ticker symbol ES in Thinkorswim, it is actually /ES, and what that is the futures. It trades 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. So I look at that to see how did it trade overnight and what is it in the morning. So I'll give you a tip over here. If it is up by $15, more than $15 or $20 in the morning, we are trending up. It doesn't mean that we're going to be up all day or the market is going to be up all day. It just means that for the next 15, 20 minutes, more than likely, it will be trending upwards. If it is negative 15 to 20 or more, it means that the market will suddenly open down. Doesn't mean it will stay down. So, about half an hour ago, I said I teach to trade the equities a little differently than I teach to trade the SPX. So the SPX is in particular the one that is sensitive to the futures, and that's how I look at the futures and on momentum. Everything else, I definitely go with a chart. I don't use a lot of indicators. In fact, I don't use any indicators, but I do use the ATR. Every once in a while, I will look at the EMAs, the 20 EMA, the 50, and the 200 EMAs. I think that's the first time I'm saying that. I also do have a few other calculations that I use to help me with standard deviation. So those I use more than even the EMAs. I like the EMAs, but not that much. I have not looked at them in a while. So EMA is exponential moving average. Exponential moving average. So does that help you, Rolandia?
I think so. I
Awesome.
had never heard of an EMAs before.
Okay, it's just an indicator. So Brittany cannot believe it. There we go. There you go.
Well, Eddie, I have one last question. I am on your website and I see Monday through Thursday coaching schedule, and I see those 3 times.
Yep.
You choose which time we come on Monday.
So it just depends on what's available. Once you sign up, then I will allocate a time for you. Those are the only times that I teach. So I've published that 4:30 to what time? I should know this. I do it.
Yeah, I think I saw 7:30.
Yeah, 7:30 to 8:30. So those are the only times, Monday through Thursday. I try to keep Fridays and weekends open. I actually do not schedule anything over the weekend. So if you are on the group coaching, it will more than likely be the 6 to 7 o'clock on Tuesday. That is the one that is most likely to be the one.
Okay, so we just come that one day in the week.
Yes, just the one day.
Okay, thank you.
So sounds good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks again for attending. I will certainly send this recording over to you guys. And you've got that 10% discount that you get just for your support, for supporting me. So thank you very much. Hey, I'm dropping the mic here. Thank you.